Today, I'm going to teach you how to do your own glitter beard. Hello my dears and welcome back to my drag dungeon. Now many of you have been asking about my glitter beard. It seems to be a hot topic of conversation in all the comments of my videos. So today I'm going to teach you how to do your own glitter beard. Let's go. Alright, so I have done my makeup up to the point that I would usually put on my glitter beard. Now, so many of you ask about this process and I'm not going to lie to you, it's so simple, so easy, so quick, but very, very effective. So first of all, you will see that I already wear short stubble. I don't have a full beard, but I do have stubble. I have done this on stubble, I've done it on longer stubble, and I have done it on a fully shaven face. So this process works regardless of whether you have facial hair or whether you don't have facial hair. Now, the first thing that you do is the same as your eyebrows. The first thing that you want to do is take some alcohol. This is 70% alcohol. And you want to take a cotton pad and you just want to clean the area that you're going to be sticking the glitter to. Now, be very careful. If you're like me and you've already done a pile of makeup first, you don't want to be starting to take that off. So you really do just want to be shaping the area and cleaning off anything that is on there already, because obviously you're going to have powder that's on there. You might have some overspill from your foundation or anything like that. You see what I mean? But you do have to be careful that you don't take anything off that you obviously don't want to take off. I've got so many grey hairs. Right. And then we just let that dry. Oh. Do you like my fan? Right, so with it all dry, we need something for the glitter to stick to. Now, I've tried a lot of different things. You could use glitter glue like I do on my lips and my eyelids, which this is the NYX, I don't know if you can see that. This is the NYX glitter primer, which I use there. To be honest, it will be quite expensive if you use that for a glitter beard because there's a lot of area to cover. I've tested a lot of different things and I'm not going to lie to you, the thing that I have found to be the best is either hair putty or kind of hair, it's not wax, usually like a putty or like a matte cream works the best. I've tried like cheap gel. The gel doesn't work so well because it slides on the skin and stuff. It's not great for keeping stuff in place. Either a putty or a kind of wax cream is the best thing. And this stuff is the cheapest stuff you can find in the shop, literally the cheapest. It doesn't really matter. Now, you can use a brush if you want to try and be really, really precise with it. I don't do that. I have done it, but I don't do it anymore because it wasn't any better or any worse for that precision. So I just use my fingers and just take care. Now, start wherever you want. So I start up here on my sideburns. So I get this covering this top bit of hair here, and then I just pull it down. And if I need to, I take a dry finger just to take off clear out any excesses. And then what I do is I do section by section. Always have something to wipe your hands with. So today I am going with a purple. Ooh, look at that. So I'm going with a purple. Now this is a holographic glitter. I have used both chunky glitter, fine glitter, and extra fine glitter. The chunky glitter is fun, but it can be really big. That's what I used to use when I first started. And it was effective. Obviously the bigger bits caught the light really well, but it was less refined. And I like it quite refined. So thin, fine or ultra fine glitter is the best. Any sort of brush you want. Obviously you want it big enough that it can kind of hold enough glitter, but you don't want it to be big and fluffy because then you can't be precise. So this type of brush is what I use. It works the best so far. You're literally dipping it in, get it nice and covered with glitter, and then you find, this is tricky, and you just literally start dabbing over the cream area. Now, when you're coming down for the sharpness, all you need to do is just be really careful. You've got the line already traced, so you just take it down the side of the line and just keep it in a straight line as possible. So many people have asked, oh, do you use a stencil? Do you do this? Do you draw it on first? I really, really don't. I really don't at all. You can see that it's quite a straight line. Honestly, it's not as difficult as you all seem to think it is. It's really quite simple and straightforward. And again, you can use this technique for any shape of beard. I did a couple of kind of like sectional beards where I put gaps in between and all of this sort of stuff, which was quite funky. It turned out that it wasn't really right for the look I was going for, but it was fun to experiment with. Yeah, again, if you've got any overspill, just get your nail on it and just take it off. And there we go, that's one side. What I'm going to do is quickly do the other side, and then we'll talk about the chin strap. Alright, so that's the second side done. Now this is where you have to decide what kind of shape you want. I like to take it up here and curve it down and then keep it quite thin around here, and then I like to have a curve that goes up there. Again, trial and error, that's what I figured out works for the look that I'm going for, but you have to try and see what it wants. So what I do is I come up and join it up here, whoa, and then take this bit down here, and then just find the width. And then again, you just want to pull this along the width that you want. And then again, there, I curve up into this bit. Now, I am quite lucky in the respect of I am male. So therefore, as I said, I wear stubble anyway. So I have a beard line to follow. I don't follow my entire beard line. My natural beard goes up to about here. I like to keep kinkies quite short, so I pull it down there. When I am performing, I'm not gonna lie, I tend to shave my stubble into the shape of Kinky's beard, just to keep it easy, and then I let it grow when I'm not performing. So I do this bit and I only go as far as here, I don't want to do too much at one time and then the wax dry out. And I start on the inside because I start with this curve to make sure that I get the angle of the curve the way that I want it, and then I come up here and then we do the bit that joins. There we go. Again, bring this up. And it's just about being like precise. So many of you mention how tight my beard looks, and it's not massive effort. It doesn't take an awful long time. Like, it's obviously taking me longer now because I'm trying to explain as I go and concentrate on doing it, so it's taking it slightly longer. But once you get in the habit of it, it really doesn't take that long at all. And also, this exact technique is the same technique I use when I do my glitter eyebrows. Now, what I tend to do when I do the glitter eyebrows is I cut out a stencil for my eyebrows, and then what I do is place the stencil on, and then I take the wax, scoop it, hold the stencil down and go over the stencil and take it off, and then use this process to put it on over the top. But again, you could do it freehand, or you could find a brush and paint the wax on. I've done that in the past and it worked quite well. All right, so that's chin strap side. Let me do the other side and then we'll come to the middle. All right, they're fairly well matched. This side is slightly thicker. Is what it is. You know what, our faces are not entirely symmetrical, so it's not really that much of a problem. It's relatively close. The thickness is pretty much the same down there, so that's all cool. Right, the middle bit, not very hard. So again, we're just connecting these two and following the shape of the beard that you want to create. Again, that is entirely up to you. And like I say, mine is the shape that I need, because it's kind of dictated by my face. Oh. Right, that bit's fine. And you've got this little bit here. You can either go wide and long triangle or short triangle. It's dealer's choice, I guess. And then you fill it in. What I would say is if you're doing the method that I'm using, this over the period of the time you're doing your beard gets quite clogged with obviously the remnants of the wax of the putty that stays on the brush, and then it gets clogged with kind of wet glitter. So just be aware of that. If you don't feel like it's transferring as well, just clean your brush. Just get one of these and just wipe it off. It's no biggie, no biggie, right? And again, with this side, just watch these curves, try and make them even as much as possible. And just remember to watch this line on the bottom. That's where I always used to forget. So it would all be squint. Yeah, so treat this line, this sharp line here, with as much care as these lines, because again, that's what gives you the definition. And joyfully, if you're doing this, it negates the need for any of that dark contour down here, because it creates the natural line that you contour with, so you don't end up needing it. Right, the mustache area. Right, this is, again, it depends on what you want to do. As you probably see, I do two kind of highlights to highlight these parts now. So mine is slightly different. I never used to do that. It's a new thing that I've added to my look, which I quite like. Be aware of the angle. Again, you will see no one's face is symmetrical. So this side of my face is slightly a slightly shallower angle than this one, ever so slightly. So you just got to be aware to even that out as much as possible, without making it like too thick. So because I do these two highlight lines now, what I have to do is I have to do the middle first. 1 second, I'll show you. Right, just like that. That looks wrong. Let's quickly move on from that. And then I take these sides. I have to create a straight line on this side and then pull, then you just pull it down and then you find the shape that you want. What to do is take more time on the first side, whichever one that is for you. Get the shape you want and then try and match the shape on the other side. And the other area that I struggle with is this little bit here. Little smile and match down the way. To create that connection right there. All right, so once you've done that, then again just add your glitter in the shape that you've traced out. Now remember, if you are, it depends on what you do with the rest of your makeup, how this will work. If you overdraw your lips, then you'll have to keep the bottom line slightly higher, otherwise you're not going to have room for that. So I don't tend to overdraw my lips. I actually put the highlight on where the highlighted area is, but it depends on what you want to do. Also, if you're not doing the highlight here like I do, then you would have it just come in a solid line across, which is what I used to do. Okay, so that's one side. That's actually turned out very nice. I like that. Now is the stressful part of matching it. You just have to do it as best you can. The more you do this, the more familiar you will become with the shape of your face, the shape of your character's face, and what you want it to look like. And it's important, just like with your persona, it's important to remember that these things will change over time. I never used to do these bits. Some of this used to be thicker. I used to use thicker glitter. It entirely depends, and it will develop over time and you'll find a style that works. Play with it. It's fun. It's nonsense. Like, it's a glitter beard, for goodness sake. Just play with it and enjoy it and find what works for you. So this is where you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Do you see how this is longer than this? Because my face is not symmetrical, so this bit's longer than this bit there. But There's nothing you can do about that. That's the shape of your face. You could make this bit longer and try and even out the face. I could do that, but then the bit here would be further over, so you just kind of have to sometimes accept that obviously we want things to be as symmetrical as possible, but they're not always possible within your face. Same applies with your contour and everything else. You know, there are parts of your face that are different proportions to other parts of your face. That's how the human face is built. And we can use illusion to change quite a lot of that, but sometimes there's just no way to possibly do that, especially when something's based on the structure of your face, like a beard. All right, so that's me finished the full beard, and I've taken it up to my hairline, so where my hat sits, it still goes straight up the way. Now, we've put glue on, we put the adhesive off, we put the glitter on. Now, that's hardly used any glitter at all, so this is a new one. This will last for ages, probably the whole year, if not longer. Now what we need to do is we need to set it the same as we do with our makeup. We need to set. So drag artist's best friend, got to be glued. If you are doing drag, you will have this for your wigs, etc. Now this is where things get tricky because it's quite a thick spray. The problem with got to be glued is if it gets onto your makeup, it will dry the makeup and crack it. So you need to start to get, I'm going to turn that fan off so it doesn't blow everything anywhere. You need to, this takes a little bit of practice. You need to get the spray fine enough and consistent enough so that it will spray and glue down the beard, but won't go onto the makeup because otherwise it will dry and get cracky. So let's show you this. So just stay nice and close. Keep it in the lines of the beard and then just trace around where you've already done and try and get the whole thing covered. Now there will inevitably be some overspill. Usually I find it here is where the cracking starts, so you may have to go back in and fix it afterwards. But there we go, you can see it's all sprayed. And it will start to look like, almost like it's laminated, like when you do your eyebrows. So it looks a bit flatter rather than light and dusty. That's okay because that's it glued in place. If for any reason at any point in the night a bit comes off, it gets rubbed off, I usually find when I switch from wigs, hats to a wig, the wig line obviously is lower than my hat line, so I will find that when I take that off, it will have rubbed away. So you just, again, back on with this, patch it up with that, and then seal it with that. And that, my dears, is as difficult as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get into the rest of my drag so you can see the finished result. And there we have it, my dears, a glitter beard fully fit for a king or a queen or a monster or a thing. It doesn't matter. What do you think? Do you like it? It's as simple as that. It really is very straightforward. So go try it and DM me or tag me in your Instagram photos of your results. I would love to see them all. And if you made it right the way through to the end of this video, well done you, my dear. Welcome to the court. Now go ahead, share this video, smash that follow or subscribe button. And remember, my dears, once a jewel, always a jewel.